How's it going, everybody? Nerds Rising here, and welcome back to the Nerd Cave. In today's video, we are opening up this new GBL rotation with some very spicy open Ultra League battles featuring fellow content creator Ripley320. Now, first of all, before we get into these battles, I'm going to give you guys a brief disclaimer and tell you that the Midwestern United States right now is just an absolute shambles in terms of weather. We are getting like freezing cold days followed by like 75-degree weather, and my chronic sinusitis and allergies are just giving me a real run for my money. So bear with me as I sniffle through this video. I'm sure that you guys have noticed already that I sniffle a ton, but if you haven't, congratulations, you will now never be able to not notice that. But yeah, it's gonna be much worse than usual, guys. I'm just warning you now. And to top it off, as always, it's very late at night and I am low on sleep. So without doing any more complaining, we're going to be diving right into these battles. And again, make sure you guys check out Ripley320's channel. These are some very, very spicy battles. Done obviously in the little bit lower ace range, but he did send me in these battles during the last Ultra League rotation. So these are from earlier in the season as well. But either way, you guys are going to see some very cool spice and some very high level plays as well. So without any further ado, let's jump into these battles and see what Ripley can do. And in the first battle, we are leading into a Rosa raid. So already not looking too good for us here. It is Bullet Seed as well. So checks the fast move and then switches into the Sceptile. But honestly, still not a great situation to be in because these Weather Balls are going to do so much damage and Leaf Blades are going to be double resisted, and recognizes that there's no way he's going to make it to an Earthquake before the opponent gets to another Weather Ball, so just settles for the Leaf Blade and does actually shield, because despite the charge moves being resisted, these Fury Cutters are actually doing a respectable amount of damage and may actually draw a shield here, and the Rosa Ray does shield and right before they get off the next Weather Ball as well. So very nice. Just going to let the Sceptile go down and probably going to look to farm down with the Blaziken here. And at the very last second, the opponent does get to another move. And I wasn't counting. I'm sure Ripley was here. That may have been enough for like a Sludge Bomb. And the opponent there actually brought a Trevenant in and then tried to catch the Brave Bird onto the Empoleon. But Ripley very nicely there banks the energy on the Blaziken and then brings in the Swampert to the Empoleon and just full sends the Earthquake there, gets the shield, and now should be able to overfarm slightly here. Blaze kick this Empoleon, and I think should have enough energy for the Brave Bird. And this Trevenant is basically at full health. Does this one shot? Yes, it does. Gets the screenshot, and we're booming a Trevenant in game one, guys. And honestly, what more do you need to see than a Trevenant getting boomed? There are very few things more satisfying than that. So GG in the first battle, and we have a Wall Rain lead here in the next battle. So fairly neutral. Shadow Swampert obviously is just going to get out bulked here, but doesn't really want to hard switch out because the Blaziken doesn't want to see that Earthquake either. So actually makes a very nice play there, and looks like catches a Icicle Spear here onto the Blaziken, and that's exactly what happens. And the opponent actually stays in for a minute, and then they bring in a Talonflame, and behind on energy, Talonflame is not going to appreciate these Brave Birds. Does get the shield with the first one, and I believe should just barely get to another one before the opponent gets to their next Flame Charge, and does get there one turn before. So very nicely done there. Gonna boom this Talon out of the sky. And what does the opponent have in the back here? They actually bring back in the Wall Raid, and they do farm down, which is a little annoying, but gonna just bring in the Shadow Swampert here. I like this play. Just force their energy, and now gonna put it all in the shiny Sceptile on the back, and gonna have to shield this Icicle Spear, unfortunately, but we just have to hope now that whatever's in the back, this Sceptile can handle it. They actually have their own Sceptile, so very cool by the opponent, but fortunately for Ripley here, this one actually is running Bullet Seed. So if they're running the Leaf Blade Earthquake, and it looks like they are, gonna fully resist everything, and now throws on very nice timing here. I think this Leaf Blade plus a couple more Fury Cutters should do it, and they do. And now gonna outpace the Wall Rain, and that is gonna be very nicely played in game two, despite the slightly tricky lead yet again. So into the third battle, we have a Lucario. So these counters will do a lot, but this is actually a Bullet Punch Lucario, so very good matchup now for the Swampert. And the opponent is staying in as well, and then brings in the Blaziken, and the opponent stays in and takes so much damage, and then they bring in an Ice Fang Avalugg into the Blaziken. So holy crap, this opponent is just getting absolutely destroyed right now. They're in absolute shambles, and they have a Origin Form Giratina in the back end. Gonna just, at this point, the opponent just has such little remaining health. Just gonna go for the Blaze Kick here, and now actually gonna send the Brave Bird. Does the opponent expect another Blaze Kick? And they do, and their Lucario is basically at like 2 HP in the back, and they just farmed down, and that opponent just got absolutely destroyed. So very nicely done in that battle. And another Sceptile, holy crap, opponent's out here running some spice as well, and brings in the Blaziken here, and they actually bring in a Empoleon. I could not remember the name of that for some reason. They bring in an Empoleon, and does actually manage to get a shield, just doesn't make it to another Blaze Kick, which is a little unfortunate, but should be able to tank one Hydro here and then probably farm down. I don't think they're quite in Hydro range, but oh my gosh, the opponent is actually running Hydro Pump, so they were definitely in Hydro Pump range. Crazy spice by the opponent there. Wow. So gets one-shotted, and now their Sceptile is going to have to do a lot of work here with 2 shields. So going to call a Body Slam bait here, and very nicely calls the bait. And I think, I'm not really sure if this is in Earthquake range, honestly. Sceptile does hit very, very hard, but Rapidash is a fairly squishy mon as well. So not sure if they're in Earthquake range, but now gonna need to very carefully manage this energy, because gonna have to overfarm enough where he can outpace this Rapidash in the back. So very nicely done there. Throws just before the Bullet Seed registers there, and now is he gonna outpace? And this is a CMP tie. Just needs this EQ to KO. Does it KO? And it does KO from very close to like 3/4 health there. So wow, crazy battle there. I was not sure he was gonna win that one. So very nicely done. And Swampert Mirror here, and the opponent brings in a Venusaur. So pretty nice matchup. Honestly, Sled Bomb probably does a massive amount of damage, so gonna respect it, but Blaziken, I can't speak, sorry guys. Blaziken should outpace the Venusaur here, so gonna throw on CMP here. I like this play a lot, and now should be able to overfarm, I believe, and should be able to throw just before he gets to the back-to-back, and then CMP tie him to the second one, but actually overfarms by 1. And I believe this actually was a CMP tie, and it was a CMP tie. So unfortunately there, by over farming, not going to get off the second Blaze Kick. You guys know what I'm saying. Doesn't get off the second move and actually loses switch. But the nice thing is the counters from the Blaziken did so much that the Venusaur is actually in Hydro Cannon range. And now, just going to hope that their Sceptile can clutch in the back, and it's going to clutch in the back. They have a Lucario, and honestly, this has to one-shot. It one-shots from nearly full health, and now the Swampert is going to get one-shotted by a Leaf Blade, and despite losing switch there, Shiny Sceptile just destroys the backline, and that is a GG. So jumping into the next battle here, we have a Sylveon lead, so pretty neutral. These charms are going to just chunk this Swampert so much, and does actually just throw the Hydro on 7 here for correct timing. So not quite at the EQ, but the opponent was not counting, and they do shield the Hydro. So now probably going to let this one go, and we'll have to see if he decides to switch out. And the opponent actually double shields, so there's no way they should have known that wasn't anything other than a Hydro. But for whatever reason, they double shield their Sylveon, and they bring in a Latias to the Fury Cutter Sceptile. And this is not a good matchup for Latias. Fury Cutters are doing so much damage, and that EQ did so much damage as well. Unfortunately, just barely doesn't get the farm down, and is going to respect this Mist Ball. Maybe expecting a Swampert in the back, but it's actually a Poison Jab Roserade, so this could get a little tricky for the Blaziken, because I'm not sure it can tank a move, but makes the catch onto the Swampert. And it's a Sludge Bomb. Absolutely beautiful play. I was going to say a Sludge Bomb from the Roserade probably KOs there, and throws the Brave Bird on the CMP tie. Perfect over farm there, and I believe does have the Blaze Kick loaded, and absolutely beautiful gameplay there, because if he doesn't farm up to the back-to-back, honestly, I think one Poison Jab on the lower defense there probably KOs, so very well played there. And the opponent in this battle was leading Alakazam, and then they safe switch into a Gardevoir, so very interesting. And they don't shield the Shadow Hydro Cannon, and now Sceptile can just come in and farm down. And honestly, those Fury Cutters would absolutely shred the Alakazam, so they actually elect to bring in their third, which looks like it's going to be a Walrein. And again, this opponent is just an absolute shambles right now because this Walrein does not want to see a loaded Sceptile. And now, at this point, honestly, I think this game is already over because the Blaziken can just come in here and actually going to call the bait as well. And oh my gosh, the opponent just blind through the Icicle Spear there. And now they bring in the Alakazam, but regardless of whether they shield this or not, Swampert can clutch this game out, and they actually just elect to let that go. Questionable plays again by the opponent, because now can just shield, farm all the way down, and probably can just counter down the Walrein, and doesn't even get to another move, and that is going to be a GG. So, very nice gameplay by Ripley so far, and finally, a decent lead here. We have a Charizard, and the opponent actually brings in a Cobalion here, so it might have been nice to chip with a Hydro first, but either way, brings in the Blaziken and does respect the Stone Edge. And yeah, they were at enough for the Stone Edge because they're throwing another Sacred Sword right away. So recognizes he can tank this, just tanks that, and now gonna overfarm and probably get a shield back from this Cobalion here, and does get a shield back. So it looks like the opponent is making a play for a switch here, but yeah, Ripley knows here that he can just shield this up, farm down, and probably gonna have some loaded energy for whatever comes back in, and they do bring in a Walrein here. So Brave Bird honestly is going to hurt this Walrein, and it does. And now Sceptile is going to have to come in here and take this energy because we know there's a Charizard in the back. But honestly, this actually is looking a little bit rough because with the shield advantage, Charizard can actually put in some work against the Swampert. So fortunately, it is a Fire Spin Charizard, and they actually let that go. Oh my gosh, opponent. I think they had to shield that because Ripley very nicely there banked a Leaf Blade, and now by letting that go, they're forced to shield the Hydro, and now they're going to have to EQ, and either way, Sceptile definitely would have won CMP, even if they had the move bank. So, opponent there, I think, had to commit to the Charizard, and they didn't, and Ripley takes advantage of that and makes a very nice play for the win there. So, I think, honestly, guys, we're already into the last battle here. These are some pretty fast battles, but very fun battles so far, and very nice move timing there. Throws after 10 Mud Shots, which does not allow a full Charm Through. And the opponent does shield the Hydro. And the question is, does the opponent want to give up the second shield? And they don't. We one-shot the Primarina. And the opponent has a Swampert. And they get to another Hydro. Oh my gosh, on 1 HP. Swampert clutching it out. And now, gonna probably have to respect a Sludge Wave here. We'll have to see what the opponent is running here. And they are not running Sludge Wave. And actually, the opponent just straight up surrenders there when they see the Blaziken. So probably had another Grass type in the back. And I guess that wasn't the last battle, but I believe this one is the last battle. Yeah, looking at the time, this is definitely the last battle. So Swampert Mirror here. This one actually is running Surf, but it doesn't really matter because it takes 2 Hydros to KO anyway. So not a big deal. And it's really going to come down to who wins CMP. And I believe this was not a CMP tie. Yeah, this was not a oh, it was a CMP. No, it wasn't a CMP tie. So, actually just going to let the Swampert go since he's gotten a shield advantage. And going to just come in here and looks like maybe commit to a very aggressive farm down with the Sceptile. And this could get a little tricky because you'd imagine they do have a decent response to Grass in the back, considering they have a Swampert lead. So, we'll have to see what they have. And oh my gosh, the opponent has an Arcanine. Do they know about the Earthquake? They don't. Oh my gosh, that one-shot's from full health. And they have a Mamoswine in the back. So this opponent is getting fully swept by a Sceptile here. And honestly, not sure how much this Leaf Blade is going to do. Is this going to one-shot? And oh my gosh, that does like 90% of the Mamoswine's health. And that is a GG. That's a full Sceptile sweep there. 1v3ing the team. And that opponent there definitely did not respect the shiny Sceptile. So very well played battles there to Ripley. Again, if you guys enjoyed these battles, make sure you head over to Ripley's channel and check him out. Really cool content creator. And thank you so much for watching. And again, sorry about the sniffling. And hopefully the Ohio weather is a little bit kinder to me in the next few weeks here. But either way, thanks again to everyone who has subscribed recently. We are past 450, so it feels really good to get some positive feedback from the community. And that being said, if you have not subscribed, consider doing so, because the more subscribers we can get, the more Pokemon my wife will let me play.